I told y'all time and time again. Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup fall. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about
20. The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
Let's roll. Level 3 has begun. This is SportsRage, Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. So a program alert, we're not on Friday. We're going to be in Las Vegas, Labor Day weekend, sort of hit or miss over the past few years for these Fridays. Because I recall, I'm always in Vegas Labor Day weekend. So I recall doing the show from... we did the show from Circa. We did the show at Palace Station a couple of years ago. But this Friday, no show on Friday, no show Monday. And then the following Tuesday next week, there's some schedule changes. But those will be announced later in the week. But we're going to be on a lot, and we're going to be all over the NFL football games live, I can tell you that, this year. So speaking of which, we're just talking about somebody's win totals. And I am buying into the Seattle Seahawks. Look, everybody, you can pretty much, there's very few teams in the NFL that have an easy schedule, right? And we all talk about, hard schedule this, hard schedule that. It's never easy for anybody. Anybody can win on any given Sunday in the NFL. And if you haven't learned that by now, you never will, right? So there's nothing's easy, but some teams have more challenging. It's not so much who you play. It's when you play them. Is it in a row? Are they coming off a bye? And there's just certain teams that have these tough runs. But the fact is, every team in the NFL plays two divisions that aren't in, they're going to play another division in their conference. They're going to play a full division in the other conference. So it is what it is. So the Seattle Seahawks, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Rams have to play against the Packers and the Lions and the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets, etc. But you can say the same thing about the AFC East teams. They have to deal with this NFC West that's pretty good. Right, but with that being stated, like I said, there's a difference, 7.5 minus 145 for Seattle or minus 160 for the Rams to get to 9. What I like about the Seattle bet is they could have a losing record and we could still win the bet. And I don't think people realize this about Seattle. It's quite surprising, actually. Like if you ask somebody a trivia question and you said, all right, what team in the NFL has won? What teams in the NFL have won double-digit games in 10 of their last 11 seasons, or have gone over the win total, I should know, of this number in 10 of 11 seasons? It's actually the Seattle Seahawks. Even in so-called, felt like down years for the Seahawks the last couple of years, there was sort of that feeling that, you know what, Pete Carroll's kind of at the end here. He should probably retire. But if you look at the Seahawks, guys, it actually was an incredible run. From 2012, 11 wins. 2013, 13 wins. 2014, 12 wins. 2015, 10 wins. 2016, 10 wins. 2017, 9 wins. 2018, 10 wins. 19, 11 wins. 2020, 12 wins. 2021, 7 and 10. And then the last 2 years, the Seahawks have actually won 9 games each year. So they've gone 9 and 8 exact in the last 2 seasons. And they had a ton of injuries, too, last year. And also the sort of shadow of, Pete Carroll's leaving, and this is going to be the end for Carroll, right? It was sort of the end of the road, but he hung on a little bit. I think the Seahawks are going to be better this year than they were last year. Now, they have a little bit of transition, but McDonald, you have the youngest coach in the NFL. He injects some enthusiasm. Now, Carroll was Johnny enthusiasm, but it's just a new look, right? A different way, a little bit different way of practicing, right? And we just talked about it with George and Cam. The Seattle Seahawks on offense, it's very impressive, like on paper. The only problem is Walker has always been injury prone, the running back out of Wake Forest to Michigan State. Kid's a stud. He ran for like 300 yards on the Michigan Wolverines. He carved them up more than anyone has over the last few years, Michigan. All right, like Walker's a stud. Charbonnet's a stud. Speaking of Michigan, he was a Michigan Wolverine, went to UCLA after. Their running back, I like the running back room that they have. We talked about their wide receiver core here. Jackson Smith-Njigba is one of the best young wide receivers and arguably their best wide receiver. He's better than Metcalf, I think, actually. I mean, dude, he was a rookie last year, and he still had like 60-plus catches. Right? Like, he's the real deal, this guy. So, you throw in Fant. Like I said, offensively, I think Geno Smith is underrated. He gets called out, Geno this, Geno that. He's actually like the second most accurate quarterback in the NFL. And as I stated, they had injuries, bad play calling. I think, this new offense, and they bring in Grubb, so they're bringing in – that's one thing that's interesting, though. They're bringing in a college guy here to call the plays. He was with the Washington Huskies last year, so that's an interesting dynamic. But I don't think 7.5 is a tall task here, guys. Like, do you believe? Okay, fine. They don't have Carroll. They won 9 games last year. I think the Seahawks are in a better mindset and frame of mind. Watching the preseason, watching their camp, this is a confident team. They like each other. They like the new coaching staff. And as I stated, they won 9 games last year. They won 9 games 2 years ago. We only need them to win 8 to actually win the bet. So I do like the Seattle Seahawks. It's funny, we were talking about the Rams, who you can't lay minus money with the Rams to get to 9. There's just too many question marks with the Rams, right? And we talked about, Matt Stafford, the age that he's at right now. And, yeah, he's good when he plays, but we all know he's not going to be able to play 17 games this year. Is Williams going to last? All right, Blake Corum comes in after. Cooper Kupp isn't the same player. He's not the same body. He's starting to wear out a little bit. You have a lot of let's just call it out for what it is. The Rams are Puka Nacua. Right? They have everything like into Nacua and Stafford here. And that's not something, I'm not saying the Rams suck, but I'm just out on laying, for them to get to 9 wins. I like the Seahawks better at over 7.5. Mo Khan will step up and in a couple of minutes. NFL football rapidly approaching. But, of course, college football has begun. Yet, as I stated, we're having I'm like those astronauts stuck in space right now. I'm alone. Me and Pat Foster can't communicate. We have to, it's nonverbal communication here. But I don't know if you've got the Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid. But unfortunately, Psycho Sid, longtime wrestler, passed away. And as we see, WWE saddened to learn that Sid Udy has passed away. WWE extends its condolences to his friends, family, and fans. Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious, wrestled under a couple of different names over the years. I got to tell you, I used to go to a lot of wrestling, right? I've got crazy wrestling stories. People know some of them. And we used to get crazy. And, you know what? I'm not proud of it, but me and my buddies, we were those jackasses in the days throwing beer cups at people and really getting into it in the front row. Everyone knows Billy Gunn. I hit Billy Gunn in the face once by accident, and he pulled me over the railing and everything. People thought it was part of the show. But I'll never forget a couple of times, and we went a lot in that era too. And I remember a couple of times, man, Psycho Sid came out, and I was standing in the front row or like in the walkway. Put it this way, man. We didn't say a word to this guy, all right? This guy was scary in real life. You know what I mean? That's the problem now with wrestling. And, I'm sure people always say this, like heavy metal over the years, right? Oh, wrestling sucks now, not like the old days, and whatever. Wrestling's bigger than it's ever been. It's massive as far as revenue is concerned. But as I talked about on Twitter a bit last week, like you watch the WWE, it's so polished and slick. It's a great TV production, but it's not really wrestling. Right? It's people doing moves, right? They know the moves. They have a couple of things. And, oh, my God, he flipped off the top rope and he did this. But they're sort of like one-hit wonders, like on YouTube or something, right? It's like, yeah, whatever. You can play a solo on YouTube, but you can't write a song. You couldn't play a concert, but you're good in a 45-second clip. Like, they're not, I thought, you know what it was when I saw Sheamus on McAfee show. And you see Sheamus after a couple of beers, and he basically said he likes to hit people. And he likes to get hit in a wrestling ring. They said it's rare, but he loves it when the other guy is into it.
I told y'all time and time again, Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup fall. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about
Not a math bot. The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
Let's do this thing. I am Morency. Level 3 has begun. So we'll bring Mo in here. Mo Khan joins us. TSN statistician, play-by-play voice, former college football player, and more. Mo, I know you're a wrestling fan. I don't know how big of a Psycho Sid fan you were, but I always like the tough guys and the bad guys, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Big John. I look at them like a Big John Stud type. The Big John Studs, the Psycho Sids, but it's all about these guys give their life, and you know what I mean. They perform. Yeah, one thing I'll say, and I used to go. I've seen a lot of live wrestling events. I haven't gone in years, but I saw all the legends, and Psycho Sid always delivered, right? Like, he had a limited, catalog of what he was going to do, but he looked the part, bro. He was scary as hell when he came out. He was into it, and he really was a fan favorite. Like, people was one of those dudes, like hardcore wrestling fans all have a soft spot in their heart for guys like Psycho Sid. Very entertaining guy. And it was cool, too. I saw the clip. 2-time champion. Beat Shawn Michaels once at MSG, so he had that glory moment. And like a lot of wrestling observers said today, they said, Shawn Michaels is popular, and he won, and he was a big heel and stuff, but he still got a big pop in the arena because people like him. Right? It was one of those deals like, that's Psycho Sid. Good for him. He got a belt here, and let him be champion for a couple of weeks or a month, whatever it was. But what are your thoughts on Psycho Sid passing away at 63? Another thing, too, all that, pretty young. I felt like he would have been older. Huh? He looked older. So, like, what's crazy, when I was going to see him wrestle, Mo, he wasn't that much older than I was, to be honest, at the time.
Right. Yeah, I know Psycho Sid was a great character, right? I mean, he played the character to the extreme. And you were talking last segment how wrestling today, there's no wrestling moves. It's more about the exciting moves, right? I like him wrestling to baseball, where the home run is the current day wrestling, whereas the old school wrestling was more technical as it was in baseball, with the bunt stealing, all that stuff going on here. But Psycho Sid was able to really maximize his character, Gabe, in so many ways. If you remember when he was in WCW, he came to WWF in the early 90s, had that angle with Hulk Hogan. And that was a fun angle to watch because that was when it started to turn for Hogan, where people were going against Hogan, and Sid really got better and better for the crowd, got more pop and all that stuff. And his powerbomb was immaculate at times. And I think he was one of the better ones that was never appreciated. And the unfortunate situation for him now, Gabe, is that he will not be alive if and when he goes to the WWE Hall of Fame, if it ever happens, under the new regime, because him, Vader, they are no longer here with us. They should both be in the Hall of Fame as we speak.
Mo Khan with us. So rest in peace to Psycho Sid. Man, the wrestling business is a tough one on people's bodies, but he had a battle with cancer. So it wasn't like substance abuse or like he had a battle with cancer. It's unfortunate. Only 63 years old. So the college football season began, and it started off with a bunch. Listen, the underdogs covered the spread in all 4 football games that they played in.
Yeah.
New Mexico nearly pulled off an upset against Montana State. Would have been the upset of the century, but they were 13.5-point underdogs. They were in the game. It slipped away from them in the last couple of minutes, but Georgia Tech goes to Ireland, beats Florida State. And I said earlier, a lot of these games, Mo, these early games, like if Michigan and Texas, the loser, their season is still ahead of them. It's not a conference game. The Clemson-Georgia game. It's not a conference game. Miami and Florida. You know what I mean? In this modern era, you win your conference and whatever. You come in second place at a good club. You're going to get an exception. You're going to get in. But that's what makes this so devastating for Florida State. It actually was a conference loss. And I'm hard-pressed to believe that they're not going to lose another one or two. Right? I mean, I doubt they're going to run the table throughout the ACC now this year. So that really was a wow sort of, you know what? You just dug yourselves quite a hole in Florida State, and it really backfired on them, too. They were clowning Kirk Herbstreit right on TV with the clown T-shirts. They were going after Feinbaum. You know, Florida State fans were very confident and, you know, still upset about being left out last year. And then they go and lose the game. That's why you got to go out and win the games first before you talk, Mo. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, and look, FSU, they lost, 10, 12 guys to the NFL, just like Michigan has and other programs before that. But they haven't replaced those guys. And Mike Norvell, with DJ Uiagalelei being the quarterback for this team, did not play well. I mean, you think about it now, Gabe, he's 23 years old and is now third team in the last 3 years and did not.
But let me say something. No, there was a lot of dink and dunk. But you know what? Everyone's praising Haynes King. DJ had better numbers than Haynes King did in the game.
He did.
It's like perception, right? You know what I mean?
Right. But he has better talent to work with in theory, right? We look at the rosters from FSU and Georgia Tech. But I just think that for FSU, given that their defense, no one talked about the defense last year, they got exposed again. You know, it was smash mouth football that Tech ran against them. And now you have to ask yourself, if you're Mike Norvell, And you made the point before, Gabe, can they run the table in the ACC? They have to go to Miami, I believe, this year. They got some tough games on their schedule, which are going to be tricky for them. And look, you're right. A conference loss is tough, but you could have 2 losses in your conference and probably still sneak in as maybe as a 12th seed in the playoffs here. So not all is lost yet for FSU, but they got to figure out their offense and become much more dynamic that they were lacking in Ireland against Georgia Tech.
The thing that was the most surprising was, and you're right, listen, DJ, there was a lot of dink and dunk type stuff. It was raining. It was bad weather. It started to rain, whatever. It was a weird weather. It was sunny and then it wasn't type of deal there. But it was a close football game. And like I said earlier, I think there was a lot of negativity about Florida State and not enough sort of about, Georgia Tech are pretty good, right? Georgia Tech played with Georgia last year. Georgia Tech, won their bowl game. Georgia Tech were 4-2 in their last 6 games last year. Georgia Tech beat Miami last year, even though Cristobal screwed it up at the end. But they've had some big wins. This program's been going, the wind is blowing in the right direction for Georgia Tech. So, we all thought Georgia Tech were going to cover the spread. I bet on them. I'm not really shocked they won the game, but I'm somewhat surprised that they did. But the thing that got me the most was that Georgia Tech, that they held Florida State to like 3.3 yards per carry. That was the surprising thing, that they couldn't run the ball. I thought Florida State would, and Georgia Tech had a big weakness stopping the run last year, but they really bulked up on the D-line.
I told y'all time and time again, Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup ball. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about 20.
Not a bad one. The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
Let's do this thing, the Monday Night Meltdown. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. So you got Miami and Florida this week. And it's one of these deals, guys. It's always a big deal when these Florida teams play each other. It used to be a bigger deal, right? I mean, they used to have some of the, quote, game of the centuries and stuff like that, right? With Notre Dame and Florida State and Miami. And then, of course, the Gators had their run. They sort of like, one of them will be dominant for a couple of years, and the other one is, and no one wants to go to that school anymore. Remember, the Gators were on top of the world in the state of Florida. The Canes used to own it. Then the Gators owned it. FSU with Bowden had their run. And now it's sort of a tug of war. It's sort of wide open. FSU just sort of, they were trying to take over, but there's a tug of war. A lot of hype about Miami. But what's crazy here, guys, and how about this, Mo? Florida and Miami haven't played each other since 2019. And
That's right.
Before that, they didn't play each other since 2013. And before that, they didn't play each other since 2008. So
yeah,
it's September 6th, 2008. So it's actually been, they've only played 3 times, guys. You figure that their paths would cross more, that they would, they're not in a hurry to want to play each other, these teams, if they don't have to because of the pressure. Like, you lose the game in state, it's a massive recruiting setback. Like, there's going to be a ton of recruits at this game with the Gators and the Canes. And you have all these in-state kids, you know what I mean? It does affect them, man, when they see who wins the game. They're guests and stuff. These kids are all guests at these games. I see with Michigan, Mo, all these kids committing to Michigan all the time, and they're like, I was at the Ohio State game. I saw them win this game. I was at that game. And it has an impact. Billy Napier's under a lot of pressure right now, not to win the SEC, but to make a bowl game and have a winning season and just start to get on track. They've been patient, but their patience is wearing thin, and it's going to run out, although boosters do like Napier in Gainesville. And then you get the Miami Hurricanes, bro, who, whatever, you know what I mean? They got Cristobal, and they have all this NIL stuff going on, and they got the transfer portal. They're all locked and loaded, ready to go. I think Florida are going to beat them. I like the continuity of Mertz and the offense. We had Brent Beard on last week, guys. Brent's in Florida. He's all over this game. He works for First Coast News, Heisman Trophy voter. And the two camps are a little bit different. Cam Ward, Cam Ward will have a good day and then not such a great day. It's not like we're ready to unleash stuff. Like, the Canes behind the scenes are a little bit concerned, like, all right, let's just hope this offense comes together when we're playing for real right now. It's not a juggernaut in practice. The Gators, Mo, they're having a nice camp. Like, they feel a little bit better about themselves. They did a nice job at the transfer portal. They bring in the DB from Colorado that got into it with Dion. They got a kid from Bama on the D-line. So they've got talent in place here. We've seen Florida win these games against Utah early in the season in the past before. Massive football game, Mo. And I trust the Florida Gators more than the Miami Hurricanes. For the record, in 2019, the Gators won 24-20. They're 2-1.
Site game as well. Yeah, that was in Orlando when you played each other. Yeah,
and Gainesville is not. I don't care like whatever about this and that. Gainesville's not easy to play in. It's not an easy place to go at this time of the year. It's humid. It's hot as hell. They're from Miami and stuff, but it's a tough stadium to win at any time. Miami are going to lose, and it's going to be a black eye. It could be, and you know what? Clemson are probably going to lose to Georgia. So in other words, guys, next Monday, everyone's going to be mocking the ACC, Mo, because I think Clemson's going to lose. Although cover the spread, I'm taking the cover. I stand by that. But what's your pick for the Gators and the Canes? I say Florida wins the football game.
I'm still debating, Gabe. I think Miami, with the hoopla that they've acquired through NIL, through the recruiting classes, for Cristobal, as big as this is from Billy Napier, it's massive for Mario Cristobal because of how much they invested with him to lure him from Oregon.
Cristobal's in the same boat as Ryan Day is. It's the same. If you want to spend all this money, we got you the players. Now you need to win. So he's in this position now.
But he's losing a bit of that luster with the Canes Nation that, they thought there'd be more instant results, right? That they saw in Oregon that would have translated to South Florida, which has not happened yet. So Cam Ward,
I don't know what they were watching.
Yeah, right. They're watching whatever, right? But, Cam Ward.
This guy fell ass backwards. He wasn't great at Oregon. So anyways, but go on.
No, he was very conservative in Oregon. But that's the thing, right? Cam comes in as a quarterback, right? It's a different dynamic from the other quarterbacks like Van Dyke and others before him and Jake Garcia. But can Miami establish the running game against a Florida defense that was atrocious off the run last week?
This is not an easy first game for Cam Ward.
I've told y'all time and time again. Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup ball. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about
Not a
20.
math. The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
Scary moment for the Indiana Fever tonight, and people have bet on the Fever like myself when Caitlin Clark went down with a twisted ankle in the second quarter tonight. She was in like real pain, landed awkwardly on someone's foot and, went down, writhing in pain, but she came back, and this team's on a run right now. But we'll get back to this in a second. As we stated, they're not going to get to their win total, but they're making a push for it. They really are. Like the second half, they've been like on a tear. Right now, but they're 14-16. They got 10 games left. They need to win 9 of their last 10 games to get to 23 wins. They're not going to, but they're going to make the playoffs. Like at this rate, and it's from where they were to start the season. It's unbelievable how this team just improves on a nightly basis. But we'll get back to that. So call college football. Mo, make a pick. There's no undecision here. I know it's early in the week, but. I say the Florida Gators are going to win the football game. Like I said, college football continuation is a lot. Continuity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Florida, I know you're more impressed with the NIL stuff and the portal stuff than I am. I like teams that are the same people back as opposed to just throwing in a bunch of mercenaries here that don't really fully care about the program. They just want to get paid. And who was the coach, too? Who was it? Was it Gundy the other day? Yeah, Gundy said, guys.
NIL, yeah.
He said, I told my players the negotiating is over, right? Like he's saying he's got players and like people are coming at him right now. They want more money and they want this and that. And he told them, said, you missed your chance. If you don't like it, you can leave now. But like you've missed, like said, there's no more to go. Like he told them, you guys are free to make all the money you want and stuff, but it's over now. We're playing football now. I don't want to hear about you want this or you got a car deal that. Just shut up. You had your chance, and it's over now. So that stuff is like a big distraction to a lot of teams. But I stand my ground. Florida win the game, Mo. Who are you taking? And you're the so-called Gators fan. So what's your pick?
I think it's Miami. I think the running back Martinez from Oregon State. And if you remember Oregon State when they played the Gators in the Las Vegas Bowl 2 years ago, he went off. He went off in the Gators, right? So he knows his Gator team fairly well in terms of the dynamics that they run the run. And as I said before the break, is that this Gator defense had a problem stopping the run last year, the last couple of years under Billy Napier, because they've gone through multiple DCs. If they can't stop Martinez and he starts laying the lumber on these guys and softening up that front seven, This opens up everything else for the passing game for Cam Ward. So I think the Hurricanes win this game, and it'll be very close. I think the spread's, 2.5? I think it's close enough that they cover it here, but this might come down to Martinez and what he does for the Hurricanes in the third and fourth quarter of that matchup.
Mo Khan kicking it with us. So North Dakota State and Colorado is on Thursday night. It's a big time football game. I'm looking here, and here we go. Their record 9-3. Man, that's pretty freaking impressive. North Dakota State are 9-3 against FBS opponents the last 12 times that they played against them.
I like their chances, Gabe. I like their chances a lot here. Colorado's got a lot of holes right now with their defense, their O-line. Remember, Dion did not really recruit. He went NIL route to get these guys to come to Colorado, and they haven't really fortified anything, Gabe. Outside the big three, where the Sanders boys and Travis Hunter, there's a lot of question marks about this Colorado team. And NDSU, when you look at their history, as you said before, they will give them fits here, and it would not surprise me to see them beat them in week one, and that will send everything into chaos if you are Colorado, if they lose to the Bisons early on.
Yeah, because Dion's already started a war with the media there. They're going to pile on if he starts losing early. And this is another one. Like, Colorado have very, very little room for error here if they're going to make a bowl game, Mo. And, like, after this, they go to Lincoln, Nebraska. And after that, they go to Fort Collins against Colorado State, who hate them, and they got that rivalry going. Like, every week, they're just sort of like, oh, boy, that's not an easy game for us. Like, Colorado are in a new conference now as well. So, listen, I do agree. I think North Dakota State plus 9.5 is the look, Mo. You're calling it an upset here? You think North Dakota State, they're going to pull off the big, massive upset here? FCS beats FBS.
And the reason why their hype video that they posted up this week had me going, I said, my God, they're locked in for this game here. Because, again, when you think about North Dakota State and these FBS schools here, Gabe, they can play with the big boys and catch them on a bad day here. And, again, Colorado has a lot of question marks off the field and on it right now. And I don't trust that O-line for Colorado. I really don't. And they didn't really do anything to improve themselves from a roster building perspective here. And when they go to Lincoln next week to play Raiola and those boys down up in Lincoln, remember, Colorado tried to run up the score against the Cornhuskers last year out in Boulder. So you know Matt Rhule wants to come back at Colorado with a nice right hook to the face of the Buffaloes.
Yeah, Raiola is a Patrick Mahomes clone on and off the field. He looks like he's a dead ringer for him somehow off the field. And he plays like I'm on it. And he was named starting quarterback. So we're going to get a chance to see Raiola right early. So the big game, 2 big games early at noon. We're going to be in Vegas for these games at the Stadium Swim. Looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. Clemson and Georgia at noon Eastern, and Penn State and West Virginia. And listen, I think Clemson, you and I disagreed, but I picked Clemson to win the ACC. I think they're going to get to 10 wins. I think they'll be in the college football playoff. I know they're better than Florida State. We just saw Florida State. And one good thing for Clemson is this isn't a conference game, but it's also Georgia. So if they get smashed, it could destroy their confidence and just start a train of negativity. There's no doubt that there's media, the national media, are ready to turn on Dabo Swinney here. Georgia are now 13-point favorites. It was 14. It's currently 13 right now, Mo. You believe that Georgia are going to roll Clemson easily, or do you think it's a close game? You said last week you think Georgia smashed them.
They're going to crush them. They're going to cover the spread, Gabe. This is a team that isn't rebuilding, they're reloading. And last year, you caught them on a bad season of what they would lost from the NFL talent perspective going to the next level here. This team has loaded talent on both sides here. That offense here, remember, Etienne, we don't know what his status will be for the weekend. If he's available, he just brings another dynamic element to that Carson Beck-led offense here. And I just think they're going to roll these guys. And, look, I know with NIL and all that stuff here, Georgia's really done well with recruiting and NIL to mix both of them at the same time here. And I think they can run this score up on Clemson and win this probably by 15-plus points over the Tigers down in the ATL. And it's a home game for the Bulldogs, on top of that.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a home state game. It's not – there's a difference, at least. Going between the hedges is really tough. Yeah, it's Atlanta, though. It's a pro stadium. Clemson have played in the stadium before. It's not the same as having to go into like between the hedges. But I know what you mean. It's an advantage for Georgia. They played a couple of years ago. Same thing. They played in the first game of the year. And Georgia beat them. No, it was 10-3. It was a 10-3 game.
They got crushed. The morale got crushed in that game. If you recall, everyone said Georgia took their will out of the game. And remember, that was the beginning of DJU at Clemson, where he couldn't do anything against them. This was a top 5 matchup at that time, and Georgia crushed the morale, and it has not been the same for Clemson since that loss to Georgia a couple years ago. Remember that game?
Well, they have won double-digit games, Mo, in 12 of the last 13 years, Clemson.
Sure, but they've not been as dominant. Remember, they have not found the right recruiting mix as they once did. Right? They thought DJU would be the next.
No, but now Georgia's on top of the world, and Georgia and Michigan. Every couple of years, it sort of changes and stuff. But they ain't crushed.
I think Michigan and Georgia look sustainable, though. I think those two programs look sustainable for what they can build up here. But I think for Clemson, again, it's how they recruit, Gabe. They have to become a little bit more open-minded than what they've been the last 4 or 5 years under Dabo.
They're going to win the ACC, Mo, Clemson. Point blank. Like you're going to see in the end. You're going to be like, damn, like 10 wins
for the ACC.
Well, it doesn't matter how many wins. They're going to win the ACC. Like, you know what I mean? All they have to do is beat the other teams in the ACC. You know what I'm saying? But I think they'll end up 10-2, Clemson.
I told y'all time and time again, Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup ball. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about 20.
Not a math bot. The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
All right, let's show some love to Rutgers. Rutgers opened up the season with Howard. And what are they laying? I think it's like 40. It's a lot of freaking points. Is it in the added games here? Let me scroll here. But nevertheless, so the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, I know they lost Torre last week to injury, but Rutgers, we had Rick Saratel on, who was at their camp the other day, and very physical team. Shiano is like one of those old school guys, Mo, right? So like their practices are very physical. They're like, you know what I mean? They're sort of a nasty bunch here. And it's all about schedules in college football, especially with the modified schedules. Not everyone can play everybody anymore. So some teams get it, and it's funny because Nick Saban brought this up the other day. And he said he said the best team, and I always tell people this too. And Saban said the same thing on College Game Day the other day, Mo. He said it's not really the best team who wins. He goes, what's your schedule? And he goes, everyone has like a very unequal path to get to the playoff.
Yeah.
And he basically talked about how some teams have a very, and he liked Missouri actually, because he thought Missouri's path was favorable. And he was talking about some teams have a tougher schedule than others, and it really is true. And when you get into it for like betting, so Rutgers, guys, speaking of Miami, Rutgers beat them. So Rutgers won 7 games. They won their bowl game last year. They have a ton of returning starters. Their defensive line is nasty as hell. They actually had the leading rusher. They have one of the best rushers in the country on their team. And their schedule guys this year. How about this, Mo? If hell, I like to coach Rutgers this year. You don't play Michigan. You don't play Ohio State. You don't play Penn State. You don't play the Oregon Ducks. And you don't play the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's like basically if you're Rutgers, you got like transported into the Pac-12, Mo. You know what I mean? Like they play UCLA, they play USC, and they play the Washington Huskies.
Yeah.
Like they're hosting Washington on a Friday night on Fox, bro, on the 27th. That's going to be a nut job scene in Jersey on that Friday night. They go to Los Angeles. They play USC, but very favorable schedule for Rutgers. I'd be surprised, Mo, if they don't win 8 games this year.
And Gabe, they had a pretty good recruiting class coming in. Shannon did a good job getting some solid 4-star and 3-star recruits to come into Rutgers.
In-state guys. He's trying to keep Jersey kids in state,
Yeah, he's done a pretty good job fencing off the Northeast from Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State to come in and poach those players. But, you go back to that Pinstripe Bowl game, whatever it's called now, Yankee Stadium, when Miami played Rutgers and all this stuff here. I just thought that this Shiano team now, it's low-key, right? Remember when Rutgers was good under Shiano 1.0? They were low-key for a long time, and he built it up to that point where they started to win those games and became a top 10 or top 15 program in the NCAA at that time here. And for them to avoid the death row of the Big Ten team that they could have faced this year, they could easily win 7 games again. They could get up to 8 wins, 9 wins, and who knows at that point, Gabe, maybe being that conversation of an outside contender for a playoff spot if they do sneak in here. But again, for this record team, however they fared this season, I think it'll be a marked improvement from where they were last year, and they can definitely get themselves to 8, 9 wins this year.
Yeah, one thing though, and no one wants to, come out and just throw the kid out of the bus, but quarterback plays, that's the question mark there. The Greek kid, he was on the Minnesota Gophers last year.
Right.
Kaliak Manis. So he has a hard time throwing the ball. You know what I mean? He's one of these kids. He runs the ball. He's got a lot of heart and stuff. Like, they don't have that blue chip. Like, that's the thing. If Rutgers got a blue chip quarterback, watch out. They sort of always have these grinders and sort of average guys. And Minnesota brought in the star kid from New Hampshire. They were like, you know what? We need a better quarterback. So they got like an FCS star. He's like one of the best quarterbacks in FCS, the kid from New Hampshire. He's on the Gophers now. They're playing North Carolina on Thursday, Mo. That's going to be a fun game, actually.
Fox, right? That's on Fox as well, I believe, that game. So, But the thing is, with Mac Brown, right, people are kind of saying North Carolina's going to drop by a couple of wins, right? They lost a lot of firepower to the NFL. We know Drake May and others who've left. But this UNC team probably is going to be a 7-win team, and this might be Mac's last year as head coach at UNC because, again, Gabe, they've always had those gangbuster starts to seasons, and they sort of tail off and swoon away by the time we hit mid-October here. So I'm not expecting much from UNC, but I think for Minnesota, though, they might be a team that could be on the rise with what they've built up the last couple of years from a recruiting perspective out in the Gopher State.
Mo Khan kicking it with us. We're not on next Monday, Mo. It's Labor Day, so we'll get a couple NFL predictions from you. And I want some college football overall big picture predictions. Who do you think is going to be? We can't say in the playoffs. There's 12 of them. There's a lot of teams. So you can sort of pick a few if you want, but who you think is going to win. Sure. But Notre Dame and Texas A&M is on Saturday night. the money sort of keeps coming in on A&M. The game was basically a pick 'em all off season. A&M were like 1-point favorites. Now they're 3-point favorites in this game. That's in prime time, Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time. Notre Dame or another team, Mo, where like if Freeman, they like him. He's recruited well. I'm seeing, I think it's Netflix or someone did a special or Peacock, whatever, streaming behind the scenes, Notre Dame, like Hard Knock style, whatever. They're fired up. Like they think, you guys don't know what's about to hit the world. And like the players are really, we're going to put Notre Dame back on the map this year. Look out. And they're another team, Mo, with a very favorable schedule, Notre Dame. This is a tough game to start the season at college. I'm not saying it isn't. This, College State's not an easy place to go play. And I think A&M are freaking a dangerous football team, to be honest with you. Now that Jimbo Fisher's gone and Elko has taken over, I think A&M are going to win this game, even though I am high on Notre Dame. And I'll tell you what, though, if Notre Dame win this game, Mo, the hype will be real, bro, because there's a lot of winnable games for Notre Dame on their schedule here. Like, Notre Dame wins this game, they're basically in the playoffs, guys. So let's put it that way. But it's not going to be an easy game to win. Like, you know what I'm saying? No. Like, at all. So, and in fact, I don't think they do. I think Texas A&M are going to beat them.
This is going to be a low-scoring game. What's Mike Elko's background, right? Defense. What's Marcus Freeman's background? It's defense, right? These guys love defense. And both these teams have studs on that side of the football here. I think Riley Leonard as a quarterback is going to take some time to get used to playing that position. This might be a low-scoring game here, but give me ND to win on the road.
Whoa.
I've told y'all time and time again, Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup ball. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about
not a bad one. The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
All right, let's roll. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. All right, Mo, so on the way out, you said you think Notre Dame. You're going to take Notre Dame plus the 3 points against Texas A&M on Saturday night. The other big game is Penn State and West Virginia. And, this one, the backyard brawl, these two teams really don't like each other. West Virginia really hate Penn State. They think that Penn State have an attitude and are arrogant and don't respect them. And they're probably right on all accounts with that. this is another really, really tough game to start off. If you're James Franklin, there's a lot of pressure on you to get into the playoffs now with the expanded playoff. But with that being stated, and it's on the road, and West Virginia have a good quarterback, they're going to be able to put some points up on the board here. Penn State are really good, right? They beat everybody except Ohio State and Michigan over the last couple of years for the most part. But their big problem is, Mo, they have no big play capability, right? In the modern football world, you have to have some big plays, and they haven't gotten it. They got a blue-chip quarterback, but the offense has been stagnant. A lot of pressure on the quarterback, a lot of pressure on the coach here. For betting purposes, I'll tell you what, West Virginia are a live dog. This is a very tricky game for Penn State to open up the season with. Sort of like Notre Dame going on the road against a tougher team. West Virginia aren't as good as A&M, but this isn't an easy game. And in fact, some people think West Virginia are going to win this game outright, Mo. I'm not one of them, but I think it's going to be close.
Well, the referendum was also on Neil Brown, right, at West Virginia to keep his job alive, right? And he needs to get this signature win over the Nittany Lions to win game number 1 for them, because if they lose in West Virginia, it's going to create a bleep storm for him that he's not going to get out of here. And for James Franklin, the microscope's like Dabo Swinney a bit here, Gabe, right? They've had some great recruiting classes, but have not been able to come up with the bigger wins or two along the way here. If he can win this game on the road, it just calms the nerves down for Penn State fans.
Difference is Dabo is a multiple national champion. Franklin hasn't won the Big Ten. I guess he did win the Big Ten once. You know who James Franklin is? They're in the same, but people like him, so it's not the same, is Lane Kiffin.
Lincoln Riley.
Right?
Oh, I say Lincoln Riley as well, to an extent. Great recruiter.
Well, Lincoln Riley, yeah. You know what I mean? But Lincoln Riley, unlike the other ones, actually has been in big games. Lane Kiffin's never been in a big game.
No.
It's true. Lincoln Riley's been in the playoffs, bro. Lincoln Riley sent the Heisman trophies to the NFL and made people money in the NFL. Like Lane Kiffin, whatever, dude, they lost by a combined 48 points last year to Georgia and Bama. Like the level, like the gap was very big. And everyone was always on Franklin all the time. But the playoffs were basically, the 12-team, Mo, were invented for
Ole Miss.
For Penn State and Ole Miss. They don't get in now, then they're really, you know what I mean? Then there's going to be pressure.
They're in trouble.
So what's your pick here? Penn State or West Virginia? You think Penn State survives?
I think Penn State survives, and Neil Brown's going to be under immense pressure if they lose this game at home against the Lions.
But do you think they win by more than 9 points?
No. I think it's going to be probably a touchdown, around 6 points, 7 points that Penn State wins.
You know, it's funny. I was going to say I think it's going to be 26-24. It's just the score I randomly feel. And the total is 51.5. So I got it landing at 50. The book has it at 51.5. I think it's that type of game, guys. 30-26 or whatever. Penn State probably survive, but you really trust them to win by 9 points. So 1 minute, Mo, who do you think wins the national championship?
I'm going to go Georgia in the game. I'm high on them. They win this, and who they beat, I think Ohio State will get in there, Gabe. I think they will. So it'll be Georgia, Ohio State, and the Bulldogs will get their third title in the last 4 years. So
chalky. Mo goes 1-2 here with the chalk. I predict that Ohio State will be the ones. They're another one. This is going to implode on them. They spent $20 million, and the best quarterback they can come up with is Will Howard from Kansas State. Really? Okay. You know what I mean? It's almost like a Formula One team. You've got this car, and you don't have we'll see if Will Howard's up to the task. The one thing with Ohio State is they only have 3 tough games, but I think they could lose 2 of them, right? They go to Penn State. They go to Eugene, Oregon. The Eugene, Oregon one will be tricky. The Ducks beat them 2 years ago in Columbus. So, that is a very losable game for Ohio State, to go to Eugene and lose. And then you got the Michigan game, albeit it is in Columbus to end the year. I'll give the advantage to Columbus, to Ohio State for that. But, dude, a ton of pressure. Ton of pressure on Ohio State. They're lucky they start the season with 5 straight cupcakes. Thanks, Mo. Thanks, Foster. Other than that, you're on your own later.